The first meeting is the actual heart of the process of sailing. And this is the most exciting meeting and part of the process. Okay. I love the first meetings when you actually sit down and learn about the real problems and goals of the project. Now, the goal of the first meeting is to understand really what's the underlying problem that needs solving and determine if you can offer a solution. Okay? Now, I'll give you a framework for how to understand the fit between a problem and solution. I'll tell you a story and I think it will help you understand it. So imagine that you have to get from point A to point B, like physically. You need to get somewhere. Okay? Now, how are you going to get there? There's actually a lot of different ways to get from place A to place B, right? You can walk there. You can take the bicycle. You can take a taxi. You can take a plane. And obviously there are other solutions, right? You can take economy class and you can take business class. You can take a private helicopter, a private jet. So there's a range of solutions. Now, how do we pick the right solution? How do we pick which vehicle or which mode of transportation we're going to use? So there's basically a few factors here. The first one is, how far is it, right? If it's 100 meters from my house, I'm probably going to walk there because it's really, really easy. The second thing is what kind of a person I am. Okay, so I'm getting to my office every day with my bicycle. I could get here with a car. It might be a little bit faster, but I just love riding the bicycle, okay? And I don't like looking for parking, but other people don't like riding the bicycles and they just love the privacy of their car. So the personality of the person that's making this choice has a big impact on the solution, okay? So no mode of transportation is inherently better. They are just different, and different people have different preferences, okay? And the third thing that we need to consider when we're thinking about it is how urgently do we need to get there, okay? Because sometimes, I can tell you that I like to go on a bicycle, right? Or I like to fly economy or something. But if there's an emergency, if my son got hit and I need to get him to the hospital as fast as possible, now I'm going to change a lot of things in how I behave. Okay, so if the problem is urgent, I might take, a special cab. I might fly on a special flight helicopter to get into the mountains to save him. Whatever it takes, my whole consideration changes. So my personal preferences are going to change. My budget for this is going to change because the problem is urgent. And so we need to consider these three parameters before we can understand what is the best solution for the problem of how to get from A to B. Okay, so I hope you took this story, and now let's try to think about this in terms of a client that's coming to us, and we're trying to figure out how to best help them, okay? So here's what we're going to try and do during this first initial part of the meeting. We're going to try to figure out where do they want to go, okay? So that means what are their goals? What are they trying to build here? Where do they want to be in 1 to 3 years? What does that destination that they're trying to get to looks like? We need to paint a very clear picture because we need to know if this is something that we can walk to or that we have to take a plane for because it's very, very far. Okay, the distance to where they want to get matters on the types of solutions that we can offer to them. Okay, the next thing that we need to understand is what kind of a people they are. Okay, and I remind you that no mode of transportation is inherently bad. Okay, just some different people have different preferences. Now, some people don't, for example, value design, or they value cheap price versus other things. Now, we as designers, freelancers, service providers, a lot of times we put judgment on these people. Oh, they are cheap. Oh, they don't care. But no, they just have different preferences, and that's totally okay. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, and they probably have a solution that fits what they need. It might not be you, but that's okay. But you just need to understand what kind of people they are. And so that's something that you'll have to understand during this first meeting. What do they usually do. Okay, and a lot of times the best indicator to what people are going to do in the future is to look at what they did in the past. So what kind of a professional did you work with in the past? Did that work well for you? Did that not work well for you? Who did you hire? How does your website looks like right now? What did you do in your previous business? This will kind of show you what kind of people they are and what's important to them. And you can also ask them, what's important for you? Do you value speed? Do you value quality? Do you value relationship? Do you value service? You can ask them what kind of people they are and what they're looking for as, people. The next thing is we need to understand how severe is the problem. Because as I said, when it comes down to my son, I'm willing to invest everything it takes to make sure that he gets the best treatment. And a lot of times, some business owners, if they have a severe problem and it's their business, they might feel as deeply about their business as I'm feeling about my son. And so if the problem is really severe, they will do whatever it takes to solve the problem. And so you need to really understand during this call, again, why are you doing this right now? How important it is for you that this problem is solved, how critical it is for you. What happens if this problem is not solved? What are the consequences of that? What is the consequence of this project going badly? Is this going to ruin your business? Are you going to get fired? So not all of these questions you can ask them directly, but I hope that you understand from my examples that these are the kind of things that you're trying to look for because you want to understand how severe the problem is for them. Okay? Now, the goal here is to understand, once you have all these three kind of things, you know where they want to go, you know what kind of people they are, and you know how severe the problem is, because you know the range of, as a professional, you know the range of possible solutions for that specific problem. Now you want to find the best fit for them. And again, not the best fit for you, the best fit for them. Okay? And you might discover at the end of the meeting that they need a bicycle, but you don't sell bicycles. Okay? You sell cars and they want a bicycle. That's okay. Just direct them to the person that's selling bicycles. Okay? And in that case, yes, I'm referring to Wix websites or something like that. It might not be you, but that's completely okay. Okay? Remember, the goal is to help them. And if you help them now, they will value you and they will cherish you and they will refer other people to you. So just trust the goodwill. So once you understood what they need, what the problem is, and what the best solution is, okay, you need to ask yourself, can you actually help them? Okay? And don't come with a fixed mindset about what you have to sell. Okay? Because you might find out, you're doing websites, but right now what they need is, a physical menu or whatever, a sign. Now, if you're actually coming with an open mindset, you can ask yourself, well, usually I'm doing website, but now they need this kind of whatever brochure or presentation for investors. Can I do this for them? Maybe you can. So I suggest you don't come with a fixed mindset about what you're trying to sell, but really understand what they need and then think creatively about whether you can actually help them. So now that you know what the possible solution is, it's time to talk about, you understood the problem, let's talk about the solution. So first of all, just let them know if you can help them or not. If you can help them, tell them who can help them or where they should go. Now, if you can't help them, talk about what the process is for helping them. Okay, let's say they do need a website. So so I understood what you need and I think I can help you. Here's what the process will look like. So first, we're going to have the initial meeting. We're going to talk about, the structure of the website. I'm going to show you wireframes and so forth and so forth. Tell them what the process is going to look like. Okay, tell them what the outcomes are going to be, both in terms of deliverables, but also business outcomes for their business. Okay, so once we do that, you can expect to see, more engagement on your website and increase sign up for your newsletter, for example. Okay, of course, if you can, you want to give proof. Here's a project that we just completed 2 months ago, and the results were X, Y, and Z. Now, you can't always, share analytics and stuff like that, but if you have proof, again, if you have testimonials, that's really great. And even just sharing that you just did something recently is a proof that you can complete these types of projects. So at the end of the meeting, here's what you want to happen. First of all, if you can help them, you want to state a number. Okay, the next step will be to send them a proposal, but you never want the proposal to surprise them. Now, it doesn't have to be the exact price of the project, but you want to tell them, look, these types of solutions usually cost something around that. You want to see if they have any objection or how do they react to the price. Okay, if there's a problem, you'd rather tackle it and discuss it while you're on a call or in a meeting with them versus sending them an email and never hearing back to them. Right now, you have a direct connection with them, and you can ideally look on their face and see how they react when you say the price. I know it's a little bit scary. I know you might have not been doing this up until now, but this is very, very important, okay? If they have objections, that's good. That's good that you've discovered the objections here on the call. And by the way, don't feel bad or if they're just saying no to begin with. And think about yourself. I don't know if you're a parent, but I'm a parent, and a lot of times when my kid comes in to ask for something, before I'm even thinking about this, my immediate reaction is no. Okay? Hey, Dad, can I have that? No. Okay, it's not because it's just, it takes a lot of effort to think about this. The easiest thing is to continue with what I'm usually expecting or what I usually do. And so changes and stuff like that and surprises, we don't like them. So we turn to objections really, really fast. But no, first no doesn't mean really no. It means like, wait, I'm not ready to make a decision yet. I'm not ready to say yes. Okay, so one thing you need to understand is that the price is probably never the issue, even though it's what is mostly talked about, okay? So you need to ask yourself, are they really in love with the solution? Or maybe the problem is not big enough. And let me tell you what I mean. So right now, as I'm recording this, I'm actually seeing we need to move to a different house, and we're actually seeing houses right now. And of course, before we started this process, we defined kind of a budget. And then we started seeing houses, and now we saw a house that's a little bit beyond our budget, but wow, it was just like amazing. Now at this point, because we are so much in love with it, we're probably going to be able to change the budget because we already fell in love with it. So, and I'm sure that it happened to you so many times when you went into the supermarket and, you had a plan to leave with one thing, but you left with 10 things. Okay, it happens. It happens in every kind of like buying situations. So don't believe it when somebody tells you, oh no, it's out of our budget. It's usually just an excuse to the situation that, no, I don't think that it's worth it. I'm not that much in love with it. If they were like, oh wow, if you show them, for example, something that you did or something similar to what you're going to do, and they're like, oh wow, I need that for my business, I would love that, I mean, then the price is probably not going to be the issue, and this is where you want them to be. The second thing is, remember when I was talking about if something happens to my kid. So a lot of time, an example of that I would say is when I have a friend that's actually doing the insurance for my family, and every time he comes, it was like, do you need this? Do you need that? And I'm saying, no. And then he tells me, yeah, but I just did this because I figured out that it might be a big problem. And he tells me kind of these horror stories, which I never like to listen to. But I realize when he's talking that the problem might be bigger than what I thought. And by him increasing the problem or the perception of the problem when he's talking to me, all of a sudden the price looks a little bit inconsequential. So what I'm trying to say here is that you probably, if the price is an issue, you need to either make them fall in love with it by showing them how amazing it's going to be, or you need to keep discussing the severity of the problem because maybe it's not big enough. Now, I'm not suggesting lying or faking anything, right? We talked about honesty and transparency, but I'm talking about if you really feel like this is the truth and these are the consequences of not doing the project or not doing the project with you, you can discuss this to show them how the problem is actually big and the price is really low compared to what they're going to get in return. Now, sometimes people will tell you, yeah, but oh, this other person can do it for lower. And that's a lot of time that's true, but remember, you are a service provider and what they're actually buying is working with you. Okay, and remember what we talked about. It's all about people. So the question here is again, did they fall in love with you? Did you give them a reason to fall in love with you? Did they see how amazing you are on calls? You're always on time. You're always giving a great service. You're a good communicator. Okay, if you make them understand that, yeah, of course, and I'm very open about this, right? Other people are going to do this, but I'm not going to do this. But let me tell you, and I'm honest about this, I will give you the best service. Nobody gives a service like I do. And then you have to start thinking about this. Do I actually want to work with just a cheaper one, or what do I actually value? It goes back to the question of what do you value? Do you value price more than you value service or convenience or, fun or, a great experience? So that's probably something that you'd want to clarify. Now, you'd always want to demonstrate that you are about to bring way more value than any other alternatives. Okay, and this should be something real. Now, you might want to spend a little time thinking about this. Whatever, I know that we as creative people, we're always focusing on our shortcomings. Okay, oh, I don't have enough experience, or I am based in this location, or always focusing on our shortcomings. But you need to realize that anything in life, for every downside, there's always an upside. So you need to think about all of the things about working with you and look at them from the positive perspective, right? You don't have enough experience. That just means that you'll work harder and you're more motivated, or maybe your prices are currently, because you're just in, penetration pricing. So there's whatever it is, you're going to work harder. You're going to give them a better service. You're going to add in some more deliverables, whatever it is, you're going to be bringing more value. If they are considering working with an agency, then of course they're going to get personal attention from you. If they're considering doing it themselves, then this is going to be much faster and more convenient and everything. So you need to drill down into understanding where you are more value than their alternatives, and make sure that this was communicated during the first call. Now, this is not a negotiation, right? You're not giving them a price and they're starting to bargain. Usually it doesn't happen on this first meeting, okay? But you just want to see how they feel about it, okay? And if you get the feeling that they're not going to close because they have too many objections, don't go ahead and prepare a proposal and work on it if you think that the chances are too slim. You want to talk about this. And that's why it's great to open this up in the first meeting to see if there's a problem. If there's no objection, it doesn't mean that they'll pay your price, right? We'll talk about this in the next video about negotiation. It doesn't mean that they'll not negotiate, but you basically want to see how they react, because there's to negotiate 10-15% discount or this and that and payment terms, and there is just to say, oh, this is $10,000, we were thinking about spending $500. Here there's nothing to negotiate. It's just, you can't get a deal with this this gap in expectations. So you want to make sure that you're going to talk it out.